Hi, folks. Welcome back to the official Catchup. It is Moza here, and I am joined, as always, by... I say as always because Ben's pretty much part of the furniture these days on
So,
these podcasts. So we'll start off with Ben. How you doing, mate?
not bad, sir. Not bad, sir.
And we've obviously got, as normal, Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, doing good, mate.
And finally, Shaun's bedding as well.
I'm good, thanks. Plugging away. What about yourself?
Plugging away. That's what I do, mate. Both in life and also selling. But talking of plugs, we are, as always, brought to you on this occasion by the Soccer Shop Direct at the Soccer Shop D on Twitter. So now that we're beginning to plan ahead for football coming back, if you need anything, be it teamwear, equipment, footballs, anything, you name it, give them a shout. Twitter, they've got their website there as well. They'll do you a deal. So that's a decent enough plug, I'd say. But I think we've got a fair bit to talk about, gentlemen. What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely.
Just a little way.
So, where are we going to start? Is the question.
I think we'll start with the Inverness Cali statement, Mozza. I mean, to me, that just came off. Like that's a reply to a drunken text. That's what you're incompetent. You're an arsehole. Blah blah blah. That's what it came across as. But very, very truthful and honest and. It's something me and Ben touched on. Well, obviously the Rangers dossier and all this sort of stuff, but everything seems to be coming out now. More revealing now than it ever has, and I think I think that was the feeling going into this weekend with a lot of revelations. That I think everyone's fed up, and that's why we're getting these sort of revelations, if you will, from different people. I mean, we kind of touched on the Brechin scenario. Obviously, George came out on Sportsound and said that there had been pressure put on him. We kind of touched on, we had obviously heard things being in the position we are through several sources about that sort of thing, and it was good to obviously hear George come out and say that. We obviously didn't know the complete background of the whole thing, but it's mental, isn't it? It's totally mental.
So, just to give people an idea that are listening before we get right into it, we are recording 4 o'clock on the Sunday, just over an hour since Inverness Cali's statement came out, and it doesn't pull any punches, and it adds another word to the Scottish football lexicon. Farrago is now part of it, joining concomitant and other such words in the statement lingo.
Excellent, isn't it?
Oh, it's such a good word. We
I
won't
had to
revisit
Google
the
it.
entire Farrago is a beautiful sentence.
What does it mean, though, Mozza? What does it actually mean? Do we know?
So, according to the definition posted by Chris himself, a Farrago is a confused mixture.
Yeah.
So take that as you will. But it's just, it feels like we're getting to a point now where we're approaching the vote next week on this independent investigation being held, and I feel like the momentum's going to be behind that passing now, especially now Rangers have said that they'll pay for it, because the only issue I could really see for clubs voting against it would have been, well, we don't really want to give up any money. Every penny's a prisoner just now. So if they're committing to spend the money and say, look, we'll fund it, what excuse is there not to have an independent investigation into this when there's accusations flying left, right and centre and we need something to mend the wounds, basically? There's absolutely no justification I can see for voting against us unless you're a Brechin City chairman.
How does it work, though? Rangers paying for the investigation? Come on, that's got to be a question to ask. How will that work if Rangers are paying for the investigation?
It generally works with Rangers giving an IOU to somebody and no paying them later on, doesn't it? But aye, you're right. Obviously, it would need to be independent and not influenced by the person paying for it. So if they're going to appoint Deloitte again or anyone like that, I don't know. I guess just take the money out of the prize money you're going to pay Rangers. Could do that.
Duff and Phelps coming back into the fold, maybe? Duff and Phelps, remember those legends?
Oh,
legends of the games.
There's a callback. But even if they had the offer to pay it, surely the common sense vote would be to approve this investigation. Surely.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's just so much stuff happening with clubs and statement. I mean, I've read more in the last few weeks than I have in years, and obviously you mentioned words learning a few words here and there as well. But it's completely crazy, and there has to be an investigation for me now. I think when me and Ben spoke about the Rangers thing, like I touched on earlier, it didn't seem like Rangers had a lot, but now it seems like everyone's coming out and saying that there is something to this. I think Rangers, it might not happen to Rangers, but certainly it seems like it's happened to the bullying and whatever else, the incompetence, and well, we know about the incompetence, but the bullying and threats and whatnot certainly happened to other clubs and organisations, obviously.
Yeah, I think just to kind of explain where I'm sitting on it, I think the expectation seemed to be there was a smoking gun there, and there wasn't in the Rangers dossier. It's a gathering of things that shouldn't have happened that they've logged. I think is the easiest way to describe it. But more and more now clubs are beginning to put their voices up and they're beginning to break cover and say, aye, they did influence us when they shouldn't have done. They've not done their job right. And just all these examples are getting catalogued now. And it doesn't suggest to me that the SPFL is fit for purpose in terms of leadership.
Yeah.
Because there's so many failings. And even today, before Inverness's statement, Neil Doncaster was on Sportsound on the BBC today, just after 12 o'clock. And again, he was told this party liner, I've never had anything reported to me, bullying-wise. I've never had anything reported to me with issues. Inverness's statement basically calls him a liar because it says they've reported stuff, amongst other things. So to have a member club call you out like that, and they are calling him a liar, that gives you an idea how serious. And if that's one, it's surely widespread.
Well, here's the thing, Derek. Like, obviously, Rangers are a big organisation within Scottish football, and they obviously had been informed by the likes of Inverness or some other clubs to put this across. So has it got to a point that maybe Rangers have, I don't know, it's weird, are Rangers sort of taking things from other clubs and putting their case forward for the other clubs? I mean, that's a bit strange in a members' organisation. Maybe the likes of Cali or whoever else didn't feel strong enough, which is not right if it's a member organisation. I don't know how to think about that. Maybe they went to Rangers with it, or certain other people went to Rangers and thinking that they have the power, and it's very interesting. I don't know. It's hard to evaluate it.
I feel like clubs are being encouraged to come out now because Rangers are sticking to their guns and they're like one of the big two teams in the country. If Rangers weren't being so openly hostile, would we have heard Inverness saying this? I'm not convinced. It just feels like it started off for Rangers as a bit of a crusade on their own, but it now feels like they've realised they need to get support on board, and they're beginning to gather that support together now. And as you say, it's a members' organisation. It should be run for the benefit of members. There shouldn't be any bullying, or not even bullying, just the words that George used on Sportsline yesterday, I think, were quite important. Basically saying you might find life difficult was what he got told, and specific reference made to like Tunnock's Caramel Cup entry and Betfred Cup entry. So they're not explicitly saying what they're going to do, they're just threatening, and I think that's worse, because it'd be different if they said, look, because of this, if money goes down, we might not be able to do that, and put it kind of nice and clear. But there's no clarity, and it's just vague threats getting made, and it's getting run completely unprofessional if that's the case, especially when Thistle have came out and said similar. Falkirk have had a really strong statement as well. It's almost widespread anarchy at this point.
Gangsters, mate. Gangsters, like I said in a previous podcast. Neil Deal to be the poshest gangster I've ever seen in my
life. Shaun, we've not heard for yourself yet. Any thoughts, mate?
I totally agree. I think Rangers have been the first ones to turn around and basically come out with this allegation of bullying. I think they just came out on their own footing, to be honest. I mean, people will talk, but they've came out, and I think they've came out with the idea that we're probably not the only ones here, and as they've came out and said it, you're starting to hear it for more and more. So we've heard, that there was the threat of the cup games getting taken away from the non-league teams. We've heard, I think one of them was that there was no point in voting against the ending the seasons, and if you did, you might lose your prize money in the next vote because it'd get split equally. I don't think all these teams are sitting back and thinking, let's make up a wee story and let's get in on this. Just more and more is coming out. It's too much of a coincidence for it not to be true. I think when Rangers came out initially, there was that whole, they're just kicking off because Celtic are going to win the title. It was only one team and you could kind of see why it was like that. But now you're hearing it from so many different sources. I don't know how Neil Doncaster's managing to go on any interviews. I know he's not getting those hard questions, but to go on there and blatantly claim that so many different sources are lying, it's incredible. So, but you have touched on it already. It's just ludicrous, and I think this meeting that's on Tuesday, this EGM, I think it's looking like it's going to lead to a proper investigation getting done, and it needs to happen. I don't think it's perhaps going to change anything about the resolution to the league's ending, but yeah, I think we just need somebody, or we deserve something a little bit better as far as the running the SPFL goes, and hopefully we'll get that at the end of that inquiry.
We'll get him on the catch-up, mate.
There you go. Moza and Neil Doncaster special. There we go. That could be the one.
Pretty sure Neil Doncaster would not in a million years agree to speak to us, because we're too small fish for him, obviously. He only speaks to the big boys, so he can tell them what he's going to get asked,
Predetermined questions and all that.
Questions. But, ironically enough, he was actually quite good in Sports Sound the time before today when he was on it, talking about the loans issue. And that was basically where Michael Stewart and Tom English went in the wrong foot, I felt, because they played into him and he knew what he was talking about. When it comes down to numbers, there's no argument there. But the argument comes for if they told the full story and if they were threatening anything. And obviously the vote numbers coming out early, all these things build up. It's not professionally run. And you can't make the argument that says it's been professionally run. Just going back to the old Rangers thing as well, gathering support, I guarantee you that Rangers have been in touch with George since what you said on the radio, and they've been in touch with Inverness Cali, and they've been in touch with Thistle, and also with any of these clubs that are coming out with comments. I cast iron guarantee it that they're trying to build up a collective bit of kind of evidence here and a bit of support that way. Ironically enough, only a week ago, folk were just having a go at Rangers saying, they're trying everything to stop Celtic getting a title. It might end up being that they've actually came round to doing the right thing to get this investigation through.
Yeah.
And it's just wild the way things are changing on an hourly basis,
That's like what me and Ben actually kind of thought that as well. We thought there wasn't much to the dossier, but now it seems like all the other clubs are coming out and backing it up, which is obviously puts Rangers in a position where people are actually, well, maybe there is something to this, but I mean, it's no coincidence that Kelly Hearts are managed by Barry Ferguson and Brora Rangers are called Brora Rangers. Obviously,
Hearts and Rangers all over again, guys.
That saga I never knew about. We discussed that obviously offline, but I thought that was hilarious that people are using that as a thing to. Of course they would. Obviously, he's managed by Barry Ferguson. So.
What do you think, though? What do you think Rangers' ultimate goal is, though? That's what I don't understand. I mean, they've been kind of a bit vague about why they're doing it, but what's really their end goal? Because Rangers have never been a club to be on the side of the wee guy ever in life. So why that change?
I feel like their end goal is to get rid of Doncaster and to get rid of the legal rep as well. That his name escapes me now, is McCluskey, because they obviously think that those guys are against them, and they need to get members on side to get rid of them to do this independent investigation. So I feel like that's the reasoning behind that. If they can clear that out and get brand new management in, they'll be happier as a club. But
that would make sense, but I find it strange. I think I said this a few weeks ago on the pod that basically I feel weird like kind of siding with Rangers and something because I've never been like that. And it's still that case. I mean, I'm still absolutely on their side in terms of what they're saying. And could they go about it a wee bit better? Probably.
Absolutely.
But I feel like I can get behind what they're doing and what they're trying to do. Certainly.
I feel like their position changed. Because I think they started off by going, we don't want the season to end. And slowly but surely it's moved away from that to going, oh no, we're going to go with this because this is our best chance of getting rid of these guys. So I've got a wee bit of cynicism with that, I think. I feel like they're doing a lot of stuff populist-wise just to get support behind them. But if it gets to the right goal, then so be it.
Here's the thing, guys. Here's a question, because obviously we've kind of discussed this, but obviously there's a backlash because it is Rangers, and I think it'd be similar if it was Celtic. But could this happen if it was only like if it wasn't Rangers? I say it was Hearts that were ahead of this. Would it be as popular or as big news? Would there be anyone really give a shit? Does it have to be Rangers or Celtic for change to happen?
I think it's just starting to carry enough momentum on its own. To be honest, I think the people who have played the biggest part in making this happen has been the Neil Doncaster and the SPFL board. It's nothing you can hide away with it. It's been a complete mess. But I think whoever had sort of spearballed it at the beginning, they would have always been self-interested, whether it was Rangers stopping, Celtic getting to 10 in a row, or Hearts avoiding relegation, or it would have been tied to something. The real momentum's now coming because you're starting to hear more and more teams coming out and saying it. It's less about one team, and all these teams have all got different. They've all got self-interest, but they've all got different self-interest. But I think the fact that Rangers spearheaded it kind of probably gave it the sort of publicity. People stood up, especially. It was pathetic, but the back and forth that they had at one point, I think they had a statement each coming out every day, which was just ridiculous. But it gathered a bit of momentum and brought it into the limelight a little bit. And yeah, I think it could have been anybody, to be honest. But the fact that it was Rangers, I think, it's the old farm. They always get a bit more coverage whenever they say anything, to be honest.
So just to kind of move it on a wee bit, we now know that the league's only going to change, SPFL-wise. So we're stuck with the 12-10-10-10 regardless at this point. In terms of the playoff, George was quite clear yesterday in saying that it's an SFA-run competition, the playoffs. So as far as they're concerned, for the Highland and Lowland League, it's still happening. And if the SPFL don't put forward a club to play in that playoff, in this case Brecon, they're breaking the rules. So how do we think that's going to play out? My kind of point of view is, if the SFA are running that, and they're also saying they're running the Scottish Cup, and that will be played to a final result, if you can finish the Scottish Cup, why can't you finish the playoffs?
That was one of the reasons that Kelty were put forward as champions, for that very reason, in my opinion. Yeah. And then obviously likes of Bonnyrigg and all the other members agreed. Not how we got there, but that was why it was done, basically. So Kelty went up as Lowland League champions, or put forward as Lowland League champions, Brora as Highland League champions, and it was this was the exact reason why this was. So George has done the exact. He can't do any more for putting them forward. As far as, I think he actually mentioned this, but as far as he's concerned, the Highland and Lowland League have done their part. It's up to the SFA or the SPFL to do theirs, and for them not even to hear back. I think George mentioned this. They've not even heard back on whether it's going ahead. I mean, how stupid is that for the clubs? I know we're in a difficult position at the moment, but things can change. Players can be out of contract. By the time it does roll around, if there is going to be one, or if they decide there is going to be one, maybe they won't have the players there. There won't be fitness. There won't. There's so many kind of worms in this whole thing. If they just said, right, we're going to play it, or no, it's not happening, then we would have at least a sort of idea where the mind is, or where it's going, basically.
I think the thing about it is it seems like the hypocrisy of it all. Because you remember, they don't talk about sporting integrity and stuff like that earlier on, about kind of like the Hearts and partake and all that kind of stuff. And if you're not going to do it for those teams, then surely it's got to work the same way, and the team should be able to come up. And that seems to me that sporting integrity just goes out the window at that point.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Totally agree. Sporting integrity is a phrase that gets used all the time, just and there's none of it going of it. And it's really frustrating, man.
Exactly.
It's like a wee buzzword that just gets chucked out for no reason. And it's like, well, where's integrity in Partick Thistle getting relegated when they had a game in hand? And if they won that game in hand, they wouldn't be getting relegated. Where's integrity in that?
No, but I have to just to sort of go against that in some respects is I have to give respect to Cali, because they pretty much said, we have an agenda. We are kind of pissed off that we never got promoted or had the chance to be promoted, because we were there too. And you've got, and I think I said it in a previous pod, but you've got to respect that, because there's so many teams that are like kind of not saying. You kind of tell even with the the sort of text they use and the words that they use, that they're not really, saying how they feel. Cali just went for it today. Like they don't really care now. They just went, right, this is what we have to say. And I don't know if there's going to be, obviously, well, I don't know if there can be repercussions really, but now it's out in the open. But the problem that the SPFL have is a lot of people will agree with what Cali have said. I mean, I think Mr. Falkirk, they had a brilliant statement out the other day as well. Mm-hmm. And they were right in what they said along the lines of, like, I don't think anyone really has any faith in the SPFL and these organisations. I think they said something along those lines, and it's true. We always expect the worst in Scottish football because nothing's actually happening, nothing's changing. It's like the last proper podcast. As soon as I heard the idea of 14, or the idea that the whole going way back to the actual initial vote when they said Hearts and whoever else were getting relegated, it was pretty much done for me at that point. It really was, because if they take the votes and the decisions, then you just know it's going back to where we were, and it's mental.
Just to throw in something, a wee update on the news. Neil Doncaster, when he was questioned on the radio today, categorically denied a direct question: has any bullying or threats been made to any member clubs? Which is why Inverness have directly said it did happen and are willing to testify about it. Quotes in a Sugly peg.
Yeah, I think it's one of those times changing type scenarios where, see, if you went 10, 15 years ago, these sort of subtle, it'd be really good if you went along with this, because if not, these could be. That was the way business used to get done, and there's a lot of guys who have been doing business for a lot of time that are in these positions. But nowadays, people don't stand for that type of management anymore, and that's what's coming to light here. So to be honest, in his eyes, I believe that he probably thinks there has been no wrongdoing. He's probably sitting there thinking, I've just simply pointed out that it might not work in their favour. But that is bullying in today's sort of society, and people don't stand for it. I believe he probably is sitting there. He's probably starting to think, maybe I have done something wrong there. But do you know, when all this has been going on for the last however long, he's probably been sitting, doing it, thinking there's no real harm done. I'm just making sure we get resolutions, and I'm helping these clubs out or these leagues out by pointing out, what might happen if they don't. But it's not acceptable in this day and age, and it's clearly the way that the SPFL are running things, and it's not right.
He seems to be kind of backtracking a little bit. He seems to have suggested that there's no formal complaint, but there's clubs have expressed concern. I'm using nice air quotes. That doesn't really work in audio format, does it? I just realised.
For the benefit of anyone listening, fingers were in the air when he said that.
So it starts to be a wee bit of a backtrack from Doncaster, but I guess it's like that thing if you're at your workplace and you go to your manager and say, look, this guy's doing my head down, but you're not going to actually write out a formal disciplinary complaint or whatever against somebody. You just want to deal with quietly and get it done with and get it over with. So he's taking that to say, well, there's no formal complaints, so I'm alright, Gov. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of thing. Whereas it sounds like there's probably more to it now than what he was originally suggesting on the radio.
The problem is,
definitely changed his language. I think that's fair to say.
The problem is, though, with that is it's not. I like your analogy there, Ben, but it's like talking to, you're getting bullied by the top manager, the owner of the company, basically. So there's not much you can do other than moan to the other member clubs. And then obviously, as we've seen, it's becoming very, very public and very well known. But in terms of the, providing evidence and testify, who are they going to testify to? The SFA, the SPFL, the people that are actually, apparently handing out this bullying and threats. I mean, I don't know if it'll go anywhere.
It's incredible that he's still in the position he's in, to be honest. I think as soon as the original vote went down and, the results were published early, the changing of the vote, that should have been when he headed out the door, because nobody's got trust in him to handle things the correct way. Even if this independent inquiry goes the other way, people, I think, have lost confidence in his ability to actually run the SPFL. It's blatant, so I'm quite astonished that he's still kicking about, to be quite honest.
I don't think the general opinion was in his favour before all this happened. Generally, was it? A lot of fans really didn't like him. I can't. if anything comes through this, if it is going to be an inquiry, he's got to go, you think. If there's anything that implicates him, he's not exactly in the strongest position, as it is. But again, it's a members' organisation. They've got the power to vote him out if they want, ultimately. So it'll come down to SPFL clubs. So they were the ones that will need to be persuaded by any investigation and what's found about him. As far as it kind of focuses on non-league, it's not going to make any difference at this point in time. It's probably going to take a while to run as well if it is going to be investigated. So in terms of next steps for Kelty and Brora, there is a legal avenue that could be explored, and we know that as a potential thing that's going to happen. But what do you guys think the Highland and Lowland and Kelty and Brora should be doing for next steps?
Well, the Brora chairman put out a statement earlier. So many statements, guys. Jesus. And I believe his words were that they're going to raise awareness for both Brora and Kelty as much as they can through, the media, legal, like you said, pretty much everything they can do. In terms of the legal thing, like I said to you guys, I don't know if it'll get anywhere because you can't really. You can't put sport and integrity on trial. You know what I mean? You could probably do the finance thing and stuff like that, but I don't think any court in the country could really get Kelty or Brora what they want in terms of promotion.
No, it would need to go to CAS, Court Arbitration for Sport, wouldn't it? Just for basically the rules are there that state that the SPFL need to present a club for the playoff and they're not doing so. And you would just need to go down the CAS route and hope that they rule against the SPFL ultimately.
The thing I was going to say about the whole kind of going down the legal avenue, that to me will surely delay football if we do get some sort of restart, because you can't be starting a league if there's a legal kind of trial ongoing where there's a potential for a team to get the right ruling on their side and then get the promotion place that it deserves. So that has bigger implications on football as a whole, because you can't start any league at that point, I would have thought, in Scotland. And no one wants that really.
That rule that's been put out there about the Highland, Lowland and the SPFL having to agree on if any playoffs are cancelled, I think that's the last big thing that's sort of stuck in this. And you know what, if they'd done the right thing and opened it up to maybe a 12-team League Two, I think it would have put a lot of this to bed. The bullying thing on the independent investigation, I think, is a completely separate matter. To the leagues being finished and who's getting promoted and relegated. And I do think there's an element of fairness if, say, Kelty and Brora were to go up, but your Inverness Cali Thistles didn't get the same opportunity to play their playoff matches. But the playoff matches they were involved in were governed by the SPFL and they decided not to go forward with them. These playoff matches, they haven't been it's not been finalised, it's not been agreed on. I think that'll be a big part of the legal battle, will be that rule's not been agreed on, and it is ridiculous to think if they'd just gone down that route. I'm not saying it's the fairest way, because I do think at the moment the rules say that Breek and Kelty and Brora should have an opportunity between the three of them to get up there, and only one should go up. So for Kelty and Brora to get automatic promotion this year, because it's a bit unfair, but it sort of really put all this to bed. And if we're not going to go down that route, it is they sort of need to do those playoffs. And like Ben said, it could see a delay going ahead, because there hasn't been any vote or ruling on that yet. That's the scary bit, I think.
I wouldn't get too hung up on the rules though, because as George said on Sports Sound, if you're getting things mandated or threats over the phone or whatever, then it's obviously that the rules don't matter to the rule makers.
But that's the thing, that playoff's governed by the SFA, not the SPFL. So the SPFL aren't the rule makers. What they were threatening was, if you go against us there, we'll stop you getting into your cup competitions. So it's slightly different. Oh, sorry, the alleged threats, I should say. But
keyword, there was a keyword.
Indeed, I made sure. But personally, I think I'm going to go a bit rogue here. I think
not like you.
What we should probably, just looking at the Highland and Lowland, so kind of talking for non-league here, I think what we should be looking for now is, firstly, we should be asking for a relegation playoff. So the parachute payment, if there is not going to be promotion, half of that should go to Brora and half of that should go to Kelty. So that's the first thing. And secondly, we should be getting automatic relegation as a consequence. for next year onwards. So if we get to a stage where we say, look, I understand with coronavirus, COVID-19, the games can't get played until God knows what date, so it's not exactly an ideal situation. If we're going to go ahead with what you want, SPFL, firstly, that parachute payment, we want that given as compensation between the two clubs that would have been in it from our level. And secondly, as a consequence of not going through that and keeping your club in the leagues, give us that automatic slot. If not next year, the season after, going forward. And I think that would probably get through on our side. Whether it gets through on their side, God knows.
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to a negotiation, even if it goes through legal channels. Sort of give and take, I think. So I personally think that would be acceptable to most parties. Obviously, Brora and Kelty still wouldn't get a chance to go up. But what do you think?
After what we've seen with the votes recently, I think we're a wee bit away from that automatic relegation and promotion.
Yeah.
A lot further away than I originally thought we were. I thought a couple of years' time we'll get another couple of teams that will go up, probably in back-to-back seasons, and it'll be ridiculous to argue against it. But after seeing what I've seen over the last couple of months, I feel like if it's ever voted for by your member clubs, we're some way away from it being an automatic relegation. I think we're going to have to get a bunch of teams from non-league up to that level so that they can influence the vote a little bit, which is really frustrating. And I think that the parachute payment thing, it sounds good and it sounds like the right thing to do, but I think with the amount of money that SPFL and clubs are going to lose throughout this, I think it's just going to get eaten up and recouping some of those losses. I think as nice an idea as it is. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Never happened, Derek. Never happened because
Never happened. I know that.
You were talking about like other teams going up there, Shaun, but I've not heard anything from Edinburgh City or Cove Rangers on this. I might be wrong. I don't know if you guys have seen anything. So obviously, as soon as you're in the league, I don't know. I can't really speak for them because I've not said anything, but I'm assuming that...
In fairness, just to kind of butt in there, Edinburgh City did put out a statement saying that they were defending the leagues they came from, but they've not spoken since the vote or anything like that. Cove, I don't think I've said anything, but I'm pretty sure they've only just came up, so I'm pretty sure they'd be behind Brora and their right to come up as well.
But there's a difference in doing it quite quietly and actually coming out and doing maybe an Inverness Cali. I mean, if I was Edinburgh City or Cove Rangers, I truly believed that. And there's obviously different agendas and beliefs about these different things, but that's why I was really happy to see like Clyde and Falkirk and all these other clubs that obviously... I mean, even when I talked to Andy Williamson, East Stirlingshire, what he said about, they've always believed in the pyramid and, they knew they would probably be the first victims, if you will, and that happened. They've stuck by their guns, and obviously it's cost them, really, but they're obviously, teams like Brecon don't have the same opinion, basically, and are quite self-preservation, I guess.
So just to quote what Edinburgh City said in their statement after the vote, they said, "We strongly advocate league reconstruction featuring an increased premiership with promotion from each division, including the winners of the Highland and Lowland leagues joining the SPFL." So they were behind Brora and Kelty going up.
That's good. That's good to hear. I personally never saw that, but it is good to hear. But yeah, I would like to hear what Cove would say about that in terms of Brora.
It'd be good to actually get to speak to Edinburgh City at some point. It's maybe something we could look at in the future. But the thing with that scenario, and I'm not suggesting that Edinburgh City aren't for non-league, but I think with the suggestion when they were looking at a 14-team SPL, it really saw Edinburgh City get promoted as well. So there was there's an argument to be made that they were looking to get promoted themselves in there, and part of that would include Kelty and Brora going up. Whether or not that influenced it a huge deal, it'd be interesting to find out, and like I say, maybe be one for us to look to in future.
It's interesting you mentioned influences there, but I knew this anyway, but the teams that I mentioned, Clyde, Falkirk, Edinburgh City, they all share their grounds with Lowland League clubs, so I don't know if that's maybe there's something in that, but no, I think they were being sincere in what they said, but I think that's an interesting thing as well. Obviously, Clyde and Falkirk especially, but also Edinburgh City share their ground with Spartans. Yeah, I think there might be more to that. No conspiracies going on, but I think that's funny.
They'll naturally be kind of closer to Lowland clubs given they share the grounds with them.
Yeah.
So that's one way of looking at it. But no, you're quite right. I've just had a quite nosy at Cove there. They've not had any comments specifically in their statements with regards reconstruction or the Highland or Lowland. So it would be nice to hear something for them. I agree with you there.
What about yourself, Ben? Have you got any thoughts on that sort of thing?
I think the main thing is this whole kind of self-preservation stuff. I just think it's starting to really disappoint me. I think in terms of most of Scottish football, I think I've seen it from the top right down to even the bottom. I mean, even looking at some things that have happened in the West recently, there's been some kind of changes to that situation that have all just seems all about self-interest, and that certain clubs and top to bottom just want to look after themselves. And I don't think that's the right time for that kind of thing. I think you've got to try and preserve as many as you can right now, because at the end of the day, all the clubs need each other to be able to play football. And if we just start to see clubs kind of falling away or kind of come into difficulties with financially or what have you, then it becomes really, really a sad place, because football won't be the same. I mean, look what happened when, like for example, I know Gretna probably were a bit of a kind of fairy tale story in how they came up, but even when Gretna did essentially die as he did, it was disappointing to see from a footballing fan point of view. So that's the thing I think about all the time, is that eventually this could come down to the fact that there might be teams missing because they can't actually cope because of coronavirus. So let's just try and protect everyone best we can. And I don't know if there's maybe a perfect utopia, but I think there's better things we can be doing, like for example giving Kelty and Brother a chance to really come up and get the place that they deserve, because they've played for that at the end of the day. That's the thing of on the sporting field, they've actually played and they've been successful, so they deserve it.
If there's a perfect utopia on offer, we'd find a way to vote against it. Just try to shoot us.
Yeah, probably. When we were talking about the opportunities there as well, and teams getting their opportunity to move up, I reckon, especially since we sort of covered the whole non-league now, it's worth touching on Bo'ness, because I'm sure it was shared from a sort of secondary Bo'ness account that they weren't going to get promoted this season. But as far as I'm led to believe, that's not something that's been finalised yet. What's going to happen with the East of Scotland? Am I right?
Yeah, my understanding is Bo'ness will be promoted as soon as our licence is rubber stamped at the SFA EGM. So I did reply to that tweet. If anyone's listening, it's a bit confusing because there's two Bo'ness Twitter accounts, and the one with more followers is an unofficial one. So you need to go to the one that says official in the name, basically, so you know it's the right one. Because the other one just puts out opinions and almost states it as fact. But yeah, the understanding I have is Bo'ness are going to get promoted. Now they've been made champion club of the East because the South did the null and void choice for their season, so there was no champion club in the South of Scotland. And basically, as things stand, the Lowland, like the Highland, would run with 17 teams next year with Bo'ness coming up and no relegation.
Yeah, and we'd be somewhat hypocritical if we wanted Kelty and Brora to go up, and we were like, nah, screw Bo'ness, we don't want them in the Lowland League. No,
absolutely.
It's fine, yeah, exactly what you said. We're obviously just waiting to see what happens with Bo'ness, but the assumption is obviously that they're coming up. We're just waiting on, I think it's the licensing and stuff like that before it's confirmed. But yeah, Bo'ness should be in the Lowland League next season or whenever we continue football.
It's a shame that it's not as simple as that. Just, they finished at the top, so they get promoted. That just makes so much sense. But there you go.
Quick question, guys, because I put something out the other day and it seemed to get quite a bit of support. Would you say if we were 17 teams in a Lowland next season, now we've got the West of Scotland below it with the East and the South, would all of you be in favour of going for 2 automatic relegation spots for the Lowland going forward?
As a new West fan, I'll jump straight in there and say yes. 100%. I think that'd be great to see, certainly from our own point of view. But I'm not all about self-preservation, so whatever's best for the greater good, I'm behind. So if that's the best approach for all the clubs below Lowland League, then yeah, great, let's do it. But it's got to work for the Lowland League as well, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be a shame for some of the teams that we really like that do hover around the bottom of the Lowland League to perhaps have they're perhaps expecting to go down in the future or potentially go down, and that's going to be cut a bit shorter by making that sort of decision. But I've said for a long time that the disparity from East of Scotland and now West of Scotland to Lowland League and Lowland League up to League Two it's ridiculous, and I'm all for teams finding the right level, and the Lowland League will be more competitive for it. Ridiculously, SPFL 2 would be more competitive if there was the automatic relegation and promotion there as well, but they like their non-competitive league there that they've got where Cove Rangers run away with it. That's up to them. But yeah, I am all for it, as harsh as it is for the teams at the bottom. I want to see the 16 best non-league teams playing in the Lowland League, and we'll get there quicker with 2 automatic relegations.
I would say yes, but not if Brecon were coming down, because they shouldn't be in the Lowland League in my opinion. So if I don't know, a Vale of Leaving or a Gretna was losing their place for Brecon to come down to a league they shouldn't be in, then no, I wouldn't say so.
Neil Doncaster, I'm pretty sure, thinks they're down in Dumfries and Galloway, Brecon, so absolutely numpty. Like it's ridiculous, and it's your Tayport side, teams around there that I feel really bad for, because they've been denied an opportunity for a wee while now, and they probably would have added more to the Lowland League than Brecon will, I think. So it's a shame that I really feel sorry for, but somebody needs to get a map for Neil Doncaster. Absolutely donut like.
I kind of feel like that's the only issue we've got now with the non-league side of things, Dundee and Angus, because Angus should be Highland, but there's clearly going to be an issue there with Dundee, because a lot of those clubs, like the Carnousties of this world, believe they should be Lowland sides or want to be in East of Scotland League, for example. So how are we going to get around that? Are we just going to say to them, no, you can form a Tayside League, so basically the East Juniors can be a Tayside League, but it feeds into the Highland League? Or are we going to give a wee bit of grace? How are we going to approach that, do you think?
That's the problem with this, though. That's the problem. The reason we have boundaries is because there wouldn't be an imbalance. So, like teams like Brecon or pick and choose, it can't be done like that. There has to be a boundary, and they have to stick with it. They can't just change the rules because I don't know, the Brecon chairman's on the SPFL board or whatever. I mean, it's just nonsense, because then you would have so many teams. I mean, now we've included the West of Scotland in our pyramid under the Lowland League. I mean, how many teams are we going to have if we go further? I mean, as stated, I think 45-minute drive Brecon is from Aberdeen. So how far up the country do we go? It's just mental. They have to stick. They have to draw a line, which I believe is written in the Lowland League rules, and probably in the Highland League rules. So they have to stick with that, in my opinion.
Totally agree with you. And I think the fact that George came out and mentioned what was going to be Brecon might actually put the pressure on them now they would need to go Highland. Possibly we'll need to wait and see how that plays out as well, though, whether they're actually going to have a playoff or not. And I don't know. At this point, we'll just need to wait and see. But I think now that that's been out there, we need to get clarification on the whole Highland-Lowland boundary, the tail line. Because you can't just pick and choose the rules halfway through a season, like he said yesterday, and like you've just said there as well, Chris.
See, the other thing I was going to ask about, see for Brecon to go into what is it about the Lowland League they're so desperate to get into? Would it not be a harder league for them to actually get into in the end up? Would the Highland League not be an easier route for them?
We don't know, Ben. We honestly don't know. I'm assuming it could be to do with the fact that you've got teams like Kelty and Bonnyrigg obviously have decent crowd. I think it's a
bigger
financial
paydays,
thing. I honestly, I think it's a financial thing, and I don't want to take anything away from the Highland League, but I do believe we might perhaps have bigger. I would have to check with David Severs, but I'm assuming we do have bigger attendances than a lot of the Highland League teams, and I think
we do. The average is much higher. The theory is it's to do with player recruitment, because most of our players are based in the Central Belt.
Right. Okay.
So they'd need to start recruiting in a whole different area. But Berwick needed to do that. Like Berwick recruited for the Central Belt, came down and then went, oh, we can't really do that. We're in a really crowded field now, and we're not offering league football. So they've had to change their recruitment strategy to go kind of North England in their area. So if they've had to do that, Shire have had to adjust. Why can't Brecon adjust? Or is it because their chairman's on the board that he feels he shouldn't need to? You know what I mean? It's It's senseless. It is utterly senseless. And I didn't hear Brecon moaning when Montrose could have gone down to Brora Rangers and they would have gone Highland League. Nobody had anything to say at that point, did they? So, one rule for one.
I'd love to have seen how, because we saw how Berwick and Shire have performed when they've dropped down to the Lowland League as well. I would have been quite interested to see how a team does when they drop down into that Highland League to sort of see where the gap is. We obviously know Cove Rangers have ran away with it, but for the league as a whole, we saw how Shire and Berwick have, where they've sort of found their place in the Lowland League. It'd be interesting to see a team drop out of the SPFL 2 into the Highland League and see just how strong that league is as well. But right, it's frustrating, but it's what it is. Scottish football.
The other thing would be if Brecon were to get relegated for the Lowland, where would they go?
I don't know.
Can he go to the East of Scotland? Because East of Scotland turned down teams that are north of the Tay boundary.
I don't know. Make up their own league, pal. That's what it would do. No, I think we have to say actually, because there has been some things, we have to really say that our anger is not towards the club Brecon or their players or their fans or their staff. It's simply towards their chairman, who we've heard about, and I think I speak for everyone on that. I don't know for a fact, but it's not the club that we're against or anything like
absolutely
that. And also, in fairness to Brecon, they're not down. They haven't been relegated. All we're advocating for is for Kelty Hearts or Brora to get the chance at the playoffs. So, like that's written in the pyramid rules. And fairness, it's nothing to do with our thoughts or feelings that Brecon should be down, because that's not the case. We just feel that Kelty and Brora should have the chance to go up, which is why we have the pyramid.
Yeah, well, I think that's the other thing as well about the pyramid, is it's about teams finding a level, isn't it? So if Breacon's level at the moment isn't League 2, then they should be playing at the league below, where they're basically at the moment, and prove themselves to get back up to the league they think maybe they deserve to be in. Because there's obviously a lot of teams in there that think they deserve, have some sort of self-right to be in the League 2, but I think that now we obviously West coming in and get involved, it's a case of let's all find out where the entire Scottish football landscape sits, and all these teams will find out where they are at some point.
Yeah, and it's been a shame for Brecon because they had a couple of back-to-back relegations before what would have potentially been a third. So I think Chris was quite right in what he said there. It's definitely Brecon fans have had a hard enough time with it, having to listen to their team getting slated. It is just, Ken Ferguson and the influence that he's had being on the board, it's a bit ridiculous that somebody in that position's been able to save the club the way he has, or save them from an opportunity, I suppose, say, playing in that playoff. But yeah, absolutely agree.
The devil's advocate argument, because I feel like that's going to get thrown at us. People that are in favour of what's happening would say that all the playoffs have been cancelled in the SPFL regardless, and they were in a playoff spot, not a relegation spot. So I guess the kind of counter argument we've got to that would be, as George said yesterday, it's an SFA competition, and they've got to put forward a club. It's not an SPFL competition, so you can't just cancel it for the SPFL's level. Does that sound about right?
Spot on.
I'd agree with that. I think the thing is as well is that it's a wee bit different because there is no automatic relegation spot. The other teams we're talking about are in automatic relegation spots, so they deserve to go down. We can have that little bit of kind of safety net that they still get a chance to save themselves in a playoff. They don't have that automatic relegation, so they're kind of getting lucky anyway. So they should just do what's right and play the match for whatever the playoff situation actually is.
And I noticed that Inverness specifically called out Brecon in their statement as well. So it's not just out with the pyramid, people are calling it out. Partick have called it out, so have Inverness, saying, well, if the other teams are getting relegated, why are Brecon getting saved? Which is a very interesting kind of way of looking at it as well.
Bitterness. I think everyone's against Brecon. As I said, the chairman, not the club, but it's completely unfair. I think it's completely unfair with I think Falkirk, for one. I mean, I like Rafe, obviously. Rafe, local team quite near me, but I think there was a point in it or something like that. So Falkirk are rightfully aggrieved that they never got their chance at promotion. But I think reconstruction would have sorted all this. If they had just put the top two up, we wouldn't have had all this nonsense. But the SPFL have brought it on themselves, and whatever happens, I mean, even I loved Inverness Callie's thing, and if you've not read it, read the whole thing. It's absolutely brilliant. What was it they mentioned? They mentioned like, oh yeah, the fake 5 p.m. deadline and stuff like that. And one thing that amazed me, and it was true because they weren't the only club to say this, but they had basically heard on the news rather than being told by the organisation themselves how the vote went and all this sort of stuff. So that's just mental. That is just unbelievable to me that, surely that should be kept in house, and then, all right, guys, we've got the full result. Then there would have been none of this drama about Dundee, and it's just it all stems back to that whole vote thing about a month ago, and ever since then it's just like it's turned to utter nonsense.
I mean, the other thing about that statement, if you've not read it yet, it's beautifully obvious how bad they want to say Dundee, but they will not say the word Dundee in it. There's a whole paragraph calling out Dundee and he just can't say their name, but it's ridiculously obvious. They even say the one team that changed their vote, but they just will not name them. Just the pure anger.
It's like what I said earlier, it's like one of those replies to a drunken text. It's like, you remember that club you told me not to worry about? Why is he,
But yeah, any more for any more, gentlemen?
I don't think so. I think we've covered pretty much everything. The only other thing, I guess, to mention is obviously they have stakeholders in the SPFL. I don't really know the complete ins and outs, but apparently one of the allegations or one of the things that was in the Rangers dossier which interested me was the fact that Sky had a say in reconstruction, and they would have to. And I don't know if to me that's mental. I know obviously Sky provide the TV money, and it's obviously important for the clubs, but should an outside stakeholder have that much power in a members' organisation? That kind of bothers me, I think.
I'd agree with that. I would want that to get looked into, to be honest. I think that's just universal approval there in the silence.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying, doesn't it?
But yeah, if that's us kind of brought to an end, we're going to no doubt have more to talk about over the next couple of weeks. So you will be hearing from us again. As Shaun, I think, mentioned earlier on, we will do our best to get more chats with those involved. Obviously, from a non-league perspective, but also we've had Ian McMenemy on previously. We will try and get other club chairmen on SPFL-wise to kind of talk through bits and bobs as well. Listen out for next week, though, because we do have in the works a chat with George Fraser planned it, and he only had 5-10 minutes on Radio Scotland. We'll be giving him as long as he wants to talk through things, so keep your ears ready for that, because that I'm sure will be a very interesting listen. But anything else you want to shout out, guys, before we kind of wrap this up?
Plugs and sponsors.
Let's do it. So we said at the very start, Soccer Shop Direct are the sponsors of all the podcasts we do. We are obviously grateful for their support, especially in these trying times. So if you need anything to do with football for your team, or just generally want to have a look in preparation, at the Soccer Shop D on Twitter is where you head to. And with that said and done, I'll let you guys run through where to find you social media wise. So do you want to go first, Ben?
Sure, I think the best place to get me these days is just my own Twitter account, which is at Mr. Ben Grant. Direct all your abuse for any sort of West communication I have to that account rather than my podcast account. So we'll just mention that today. Right? Get me there. If you disapprove of my Western Scotland team of the season, then come ahead.
All welcome as long as you don't slag off David Syme. I'll tell you that right now.
David Syme's a good pal of mine. You can't mention bad word against David Syme, Carlo Monti, Gary Fleming. Anything else? Free game.
Carlo Monti, FM legend, obviously.
There we go.
Chris, next up.
You can get me at Rampant FM on Twitter, and obviously, I'm sure Derek, to save him a bit of trouble, you could probably find everything else. The Catchup is at Official Catchup. It's on Facebook at Lowland League Catchup, I think, still, and then it's on Instagram at official.catchup. We're on everywhere: SoundCloud, YouTube, just either Official Catchup or Lowland League Catchup. Shaun?
Yeah, best place for myself. Likewise is on Twitter. No fancy handles for myself. It's just Shaun Spain 89.
And that comes back to me. So at Moza Plays on Twitter, you'll find me anywhere else through there. And as Chris says, get following the Catchup and get subscribed to us on whatever platform you use for your podcast as well. Bear in mind, we are also on YouTube. If you'd rather listen to us through there, if you're doing other things in the background, you can find us wherever you need us, basically. But until next time, thanks again for listening. Please continue to share your thoughts with us. We will obviously, through Chris, be putting out the opinions on any developments on Twitter, so make sure you interact there as well. And we will catch you next time. Thanks for listening.